Hello everyone, I'm Manav and you are watching that one show which satisfies your hunger for everything automotive. Welcome to the Times Drive Show. Now just like every time, this time as well, we have a lot of action lined up for you guys over the next half an hour. So let's quickly take a look at what's coming your way. We're going to start off with the Volkswagen Golf GTI, a hatchback that not only India loves, but the whole world holds at a pedestal. Then we'll take you to the world of electric two-wheelers and find out what's new in the Ather 450 and get into a special conversation with Mini India and find out their plans for the coming years. So as you can see, there's a lot of action coming your way, and yes, we are being accompanied by the Royal Enfield Hunter 350. Now Royal Enfield is a brand that a lot of enthusiasts love, but in the world of four-wheelers, what enthusiasts love is Volkswagen. And not only in India, but worldwide, the Volkswagen Golf, especially the GTI version, has been held at a pedestal. Finally, it's come to India. I got to spend some time with it, and here's how my experience went. Now, if there's a brand that caters to auto enthusiasts in the country, well, that has to be Volkswagen, because all of their products are deeply loved by automotive enthusiasts, and that has been the case for many years. Globally though, if we talk about enthusiasm and Volkswagen, well, the Volkswagen Golf is right there at the top. Finally, the Golf did come to India, and it came in the GTI avatar, no less. We got a first impression of this car at a racetrack where it was definitely impressive. But the big question remained, how is the Volkswagen Golf GTI in everyday driving conditions? Well, I spent time with it, and that is what we're going to talk about. Well, let's start off with the design of the car. Now, I won't go into the nitty-gritties of design. You already know about it. This car is really popular on the internet. So let's talk about two big things. First, it's a low car. Even the face is really low, gives it that unique look. Whenever people see this car, they may not immediately recognize that this is a Golf GTI. Remember, not everyone is an enthusiast, but they do immediately get to know that this is an expensive, top-of-the-line car that they have just spotted. And if we talk about dimensions, well, it's not a small car. It may be a hatchback, but it's properly long. It's almost as long as a Hyundai Creta. Same is the case with the wheelbase as well. It's a properly big car. You have to see it in person to realize the presence that this car has. And that brings me to point number 2. You see, when I was driving this car over the past week, there were multiple times that people pulled over next to me, would roll down their windows, give a thumbs up and drive away. Same for pedestrians who would recognize that this is a Golf GTI that they've spotted, would always give me a thumbs up. And if you're someone who enjoys this, expects this from their purchase of an expensive car like this, well, that is something you get in Aces. Let's talk about interiors. Well, it's a familiar and a fresh affair at the same time. Familiar because straight cut lines, minimal cabin, everything is built really well, quality of materials used is really top notch, everything is nice to the touch in a typical Volkswagen manner. So it's familiar but fresh because all of this is what the latest global spec Volkswagen experience is like, and I really enjoyed it. The highlight, of course, is this massive 12.9-inch touchscreen infotainment system where everything has been made operational through the touchscreen itself, and it's not a problem. It's a really good unit. You also have this 10.25-inch all-digital instrument cluster, which is really nice to use, has really nice display, crisp graphics. Overall, a good experience. Let's talk about rear seat experience. I've set the front seat as per my height. For reference, I'm 5'10", and you can see I have loads of knee room, leg room, and even decent amount of headroom on offer. And it's a really comfortable seating experience. I have to credit Volkswagen for that. I also get this drop-down armrest over here with cup holders, and interestingly, I also get this access to the boot space. So if you're out on a road trip and you want to grab that snack from the boot, I guess you can do that in this car. You do get 3 adjustable headrests at the back, but I would say this rear seat experience is best for two people because in the center you have this protruding tunnel which may not be very comfortable for the middle seat passenger. And remember, if you want to take your family members out for a drive and you have elders in your family, while the seating experience is comfortable, getting in and out will be a little bit of a challenge because the seat height is quite low. What's not less is the boot space capacity, but in order to get that, you get this really nice boot opening latch inside the Volkswagen logo, just like other cars. I really like that. And you can see the boot space is not a problem. You have quite a bit of amount of space. The loading height is quite low, and those airport runs and weekend getaways will not be a problem. Now let's talk about the driving experience, which is certainly the highlight of this car. But I don't want to talk about numbers because I think the Golf GTI is one of those cars where the brochure or the spec sheet doesn't really give you the full picture of the driving experience, because the driving experience is something you can't put a number on. So let's talk about it. First and foremost, you're seated a little bit low. So that is something you get used to in the city traffic conditions. You realize your height is actually quite low, but you don't mind because the seating posture is actually quite sporty. I really enjoyed these sporty seats, which also happen to hold a generously sized individual like me fairly well. And what you have to keep in mind with the driving of the Golf GTI is the acceleration to stability ratio. You see, there is a lot of acceleration on offer. You reach those triple digit speeds very quickly, but the stability is so high you don't really realize the speeds that you are doing. So while you should be keeping an eye out for those speed limits anyway, in the case of the Golf GTI you really have to put in an effort because you can do silly speeds in no time. But at the same time, the car is so stable and sure-footed that you really have to physically check what speeds you're doing. Only indication of the speed that you will do is the horizon whizzing past you in a blur, which gives you an idea that you need to look at the speedometer and realize just how fast you are going. Now let's talk about the drivetrain. There's a lot of power and torque on offer from the engine, but all of that is only as good as the gearbox, as the saying goes. In the case of the Golf, thankfully you have the DSG dual clutch gearbox on offer. So if I were to put the car in sport, put the throttle down, I'll come down gears fairly quick and build up a lot of speed. It may not be quick at launches, but during those in-gear accelerations, the gearbox and the drivetrain as a whole is really fantastic. So if you're someone who enjoys those quick overtakes, you will really like this car. What you have to keep in mind though is that the ride quality is fairly busy. This is usually the case with cars that are set up for proper performance. Same is the case with the Golf, so really no complaints in that department. But during those low speed undulations, there's a lot of vertical movement inside the cabin. What you have to keep in mind though is the ride quality can be a little bit busy at low speeds during those road undulations. Potholes and bad patches, the suspension manages to keep up. But those undulations, well, that translates into a lot of vertical movement inside the cabin. But that is a trade-off you usually make in performance-oriented cars, and you have to do that in the Golf GTI as well, so no complaints there. But it is something you keep in mind. However, you will forget everything whenever you ask the car for more performance. It's a really enjoyable experience. So let's sum everything up. Usable performance is what you get with this car. Weekday commutes, office drive, weekend getaways, occasional racetrack experiences, well, you can do a lot of things with the car. But the big question, as always, is the price. Now, unless you value things like driving performance, driving pleasure, this car will seem expensive to you. But if you do value those things and you realize the history that comes with the Golf badge, you will realize that this is actually not that bad of a price at all. You are getting a piece of machinery which is absolutely great to drive. Now, the question is, do cars like these have a place in India? You may say, Manav, a car like this at so much money, Indians won't buy this. Well, you're wrong. The first lot of the car was sold out during booking itself. This is how popular it is. All of the units are already sold out, and I'm pretty sure if Volkswagen were to bring more units of this car, they will be sold out as well. That's how much they fit into the Indian enthusiast's mind. So if you want a car with a lot of performance without any major compromises, well, the Golf GTI is the one for you. So So that was the Volkswagen Golf GTI, which lives up to its mighty expectations. But now let's move on to the world of two-wheelers, where Ather has been making all kinds of right noises, and for the year 2025, they have updated the Ather 450 and it gets some important updates. Let's go to Dhruv Paliwal and find out more.
Now this electric scooter standing next to me has got me in a bit of a conundrum. You see, this is the Ather 450 Apex, and in 2025 it's got a small new update, but the question really in front of me is, why should I really recommend this scooter to anyone? And that's a lot more than other electric scooters in the market, which offer more range and even more power. Well, the short answer here is that the Ather 450 Apex is 10 years of evolution packed into one single product. For the long answer, you'll have to stick around. Hi, my name is Dhruv Paliwal, you're watching the Times Drive show, and today we're riding the Ather 450 Apex. Now, evolution can sometimes hide under the skin, and that's been the case with the Ather 450 series. But the engineers at Ather, they really wanted to show off their work, and they found an ingenious way to do that. You see this body panel over here? Well, this is translucent and it gives you a peek at the structure under the skin of the scooter. Now, the joints, the bolts, everything's been done really neatly, but what really stands out is the orange color which it's been finished in. Now, to complement the looks, Ather's given the 450 Apex a new shade, and that's this Indian blue. Looks really cool, and coupled with the orange graphics, the orange alloy wheels, and obviously the orange understructure of the scooter, I think it all gels well really together, looks really neat on the road. Now when it comes to the powertrain of the Ather 450 Apex, there are a few changes as well. Primarily, the power output has gone up from 6.4 kilowatt in the Ather 450X to 7 kilowatt in the Ather 450 Apex. And what that has resulted in is a quicker 0 to 40 time of 2.9 seconds, and the scooter can now reach a top speed of 100 kmph, which was earlier limited to 90 kmph with the Ather 450X. Now all of this increase in power also means that the range takes a slight hit. Now while the Ather 450 Apex packs in the same 3.7 kWh battery pack that is found on the Ather 450X, it has a lesser indicated range of 157 kilometers compared to the 161 kilometers of the 450X, and that is because of the increase in the power output of the scooter. But apart from that, having had the Ather on the roads for many years now has allowed the company to come up with new features which generally we wouldn't have seen on regular scooters every day. And one of them is the Infinity Cruise Control system. Now we all know how cruise control works, right? You press a button, the car or the bike gets locked at that speed, and when you brake or change gears, the cruise control gets disengaged. Now that's the part that Ather has fixed. You see, over here, again, you're riding at a certain speed, you press the button and you set the cruise speed. Now, once you accelerate from that speed, if you're going higher, when you're accelerating, the cruise control speed will increase automatically. So once you've accelerated and you've then let go of the throttle, the scooter will maintain the new set speed. The same is the case with the braking as well. If you brake and your speed is now lower, the scooter will not automatically accelerate to your previously set speed. What will happen is that your new speed, once you've let go of the brakes, will become the default cruise control speed. And honestly, well, it may not sound intuitive, when you're actually driving in traffic areas where there's a lot of traffic, areas where you want to breeze through at a lower speed, that kind of cruise control system helps while reducing fatigue at the same time. In everyday riding, the Ather was always good at those 0 to 40 kmph sprints, but it was really quick off the line, allowed you to ride it very easily in urban environments. With this horsepower upgrade, that initial acceleration has also become better. And whereas the Ather felt quick off the line till about 40 kmph before, that band has now been increased from 0 to 50 kmph. And that means while the difference is not much on paper, when riding it out in the city, you actually feel it a lot more than before. When it comes to the ride quality of the Ather 450 Apex, things have remained the same. Like before, it's not overtly hard, it's not overtly soft. Ather has found their middle ground, and the scooter works in a lot of different terrains quite well. Now I also want to talk about the tires on the Ather 450 Apex. And honestly, the MRF tires which are available at both ends offer great grip in varying conditions. I was actually trying to find when they would start skidding if I applied the brakes really quickly, really hard, and the front has still not given up. For the rear, well, you can actually get the rear to skid because there's no ABS on the rear tire. It doesn't feel uncontrolled at all. In fact, the tire really doesn't want to let go of the grip. But if you want to have a little bit of fun, slide the rear around, the Ather 450 Apex can also do that as well. Now we've reached the end of this video and it's time for me to sum up my opinions about the Ather 450 Apex. And honestly, I'd asked a question in the beginning. How do I recommend the scooter to anyone, especially for the price tag it commands? And honestly, you can't. If you're just talking about the price, this will always feel more expensive than anything else that is out there in the segment, and that is because it is. But if the monetary value is not the only thing that matters to you, if you're also chasing the riding experience. And on that front, the Ather 450 Apex offers a kind of value that is not really seen in any of its other rivals. It's giving you performance, it's giving you range, and on top of all of that, it's a fully polished product. As I said earlier, it's 10 years of evolution, and that's something that its rivals just cannot catch up to. At least that is for now. So if you're someone who wants a well sorted out scooter for their urban commutes, then you should maybe definitely check out the Ather 450 Apex.
So I have someone special with me. I have Hardip Singh Brar, President and CEO of BMW Group India. Hardip, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you, Manav. Thank you for being here.
Yes. So before we get to Mini, you've taken up a very exciting role on the group as a whole. How has it been for you so far?
So phenomenal, great brand. I'm humbled to be part of this iconic brand and really look forward to growing the market for BMW in India.
How are you gelling in? How has your first experience been?
No, great. I think the DNA of the organization is great. Great people, great culture, and needless to say, great cars. And of course, we are here for Mini today and yet another iconic product. And I'm sure you will love the drive once you are inside it.
Yes. So speaking of Mini, so today we bring the John Cooper Works edition of the Countryman. Some would say that India is a price-sensitive market, but you are going all out and bringing the high-performance version of the Countryman. So what's the thought process behind it? And if there's a response that you can share to the car, that would be great.
So, as you said, this is absolutely full of power, 300 horsepower, 400 Newton meter torque, 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds. You can't ask for anything better than this. And there are a lot of consumers in India which really want that adrenaline rush and they really want this kind of power. And this is for those few consumers who really want to get that rush. And we are not looking at the entire market. We are looking at that 10% consumer which really wants this kind of rush.
Right. And speaking of Rush, as a group, you have a lot of products that cater to the enthusiasts. Having so many of these lineups, where do you see Mini fitting in and where do you see John Cooper Works fitting in?
So as I said, Mini is about for those consumers who really want to stand out in the crowd because rest everything looks very similar. I don't think there is any other brand in India today which really stands besides or opposite or against whatever we may say versus the Mini. So anybody who's driving Mini is going to stand out in the crowd. If you look at the colors, the green, the gray, the black, the reds, I think the colors are very, very unique. And coming to Countryman, JCW Countryman All 4, this is for that customer who not only wants to stand out, but also get the rush that we spoke about just now, who really want to accelerate, get the rush while he's driving the car. So being unique, feeding the rush, a combination of those two is what JCW Countryman All 4 is all about.
And the group as a whole in the luxury space and Mini specifically has had a lot of takers in the country. How does that come across to you, seeing that where we see the luxury market, the automotive market as a whole staying the same as it has been for a long time, but the luxury space is growing and you've been at the forefront of it. So how has it been so far?
Yeah, so coming specifically to Mini, while overall luxury market is growing in line with the overall market, it's about 1.1%. But as I said, Mini customer stays, very different away from it. It doesn't matter how the market is growing. It depends on how many models we can give and how much of portfolio we can bring in from our global market will decide how much more cars we can sell in this market. So till now, we had Mini Cooper and the Countryman, both electric versions. And then we found that there is a consumer which also wants a bit of, what you call the ice junkies, or who want to have that rush and that power, that noise or the sound, I would say. And this is for those consumers who really want to experience that. And there's a altogether different market for this customer.
Right. And in the coming future, any exciting news that you want to share with us of what we can expect from Mini?
So Mini, this year we will do about 750 units this year. I think next year we would like to cross 1,000, which will be a big jump from a percentage viewpoint. So that's what we are looking at, but we want to make experience very, very unique for the Mini consumer. So that's what you can look forward to next year.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
It's been a great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of the Times Drive Show. We really hope you liked our episode. If there's anything you have to say, anything you want us to cover, or you simply want to reach out to the team that brings you all of this action, well, reach out to us on our social media handles for Times Drive. And if you're planning to buy a new car or a new motorcycle or a new two-wheeler, well, make sure you visit timesdrive.in, because that is your one-stop solution for knowing everything you need to know about new cars, motorcycles and scooters before making that big purchase. Having said that, I'll take your leave. I'll catch you same time next week, only on the Times Drive Show.